Here's a brief introduction and example problem from the inequality word problem matching. This whole exercise is to practice being able to match the actual problem, the actual story, with what it's going to look like as an equation or actually an inequality, what the answer is, and how you would graph that on a number line. So making sure that you can connect all four of these. I think the most difficult one for most people is figuring out from the story, how would I actually write the inequality? Now, I have three problems that I'm gonna give you because the story is actually involving an absolute value and we haven't tackled that yet. We will, but not yet. So go ahead and write. The story card for one is the inequality is I3. The answer is A5, and I'm going to let you figure out what that graph is. For the story card number 5, the inequality is I7. The answer is A2, and I'll let you figure out what the graph is. And for story card 8, the inequality is I4, and the answer is A8, and you'll figure out what the graph is. So you'll notice when you look at these inequalities, they have absolute values in them. You can go back, once we do absolute values, you can go back later and see if you could figure those out. But let's go ahead and do story card number 2. We'll do story card number 2 together. So here are all of the story cards. You can see them because they all start with S. And then here on the next page, you see all of the inequalities that are able to be written. They all start with I for inequality. Here are all of the answers. They all start with A. And then here are all of the graphs. They all start with G. So let's go back to story. Story 2. All right. At Alpha's school, lunches cost $2. And the cafeteria cashiers begin to warn you when your account falls below $10. If Alpha has $38 in her account, how many days will the warnings begin? And how long will the warnings continue? Now, in this case, I guess we're assuming, I know we're not supposed to assume, but we're assuming that once she reaches $0 in her account, the warnings will stop because she won't be able to buy anything more. So that's kind of what we're assuming with this one. All right, so I'm going to do some work on a whiteboard. So at Alpha's school, lunches cost $2. That means every day she's spending $2. So that would be, she is spending 2 times X. X is number of days. She's spending 2X on lunches. Let's see. She has $38 in her account. So she's starting with $38. She's spending 2X out of her account. And when does that equal $10? Let's see, because at $10, they're going to start warning her. When this amount, this is how much she has in her account, when this amount becomes smaller than $10, they're going to warn her. But when this amount right here reaches 0, she's not going to be able to buy anything anymore. So this amount has to be more, than $0. She can't have $0 in her account. Let's see. Well, this is basically an AND problem. So I could break this up into this problem and this problem. So 0 is greater than 38 minus 2x. 2x is less than 38. Divide by 2. X has to be less than 19. So 19 days. And then I'm going to solve this problem right here. So 38 minus 2x has to be less than 10. I'm going to add 2x, add 2x. 38 is less than 2x plus 10. Okay. I'm gonna just graph that real quick. I have 14 and I have 19. X has to be less than 19, but so that way. But it has to be greater than 14, so that way. So we're looking at open, open, and these ones, these values right here. So it won't start on the 19th day, because at 19 days, she'll have $10 in her account, so they won't warn her on that day. But on the other days, so actually on the 19th day, she won't have any. Let's reverse that. On the 14th day, they won't warn her because she will have $10 in her account. But on the 15th day, she'll have less than 10. On 16, 17, 18 days, she'll have less than 10. And on the 19th day, she'll have nothing in her account. So she won't even be able to buy anything. So she won't even get a warning. So there we go. So let's take a look at 14 to 19. So we're going to take a look. If I were doing this, it looks like this one. That's what I wrote right here. 38 minus 2x has to be less than 10, but greater than 0. So 1i, or I8, I8 is the equation or inequality that you would write. The answer would be right here in between 14 and 19, because I could make this into 1. I could rewrite both of these into this one. So it would be answer 7. And then what would it look like? It's an AND problem. Oh, here we go. 14 up to 19, open circle. So G5. So going back. Number 2, it was inequality 8. It was answer 7. And it was graph 5, I think it was. There you go. So that's what you're going to go ahead and do for each of these story cards. Have fun.